sync them up right there. And we'll get rolling. Hopefully this light will be good. I think the lighting's all right. And it'll probably be good. Maybe it'll help me focus like I'm in an interrogation or something here. So, okay, all right. We're rolling. Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching this video. I made a little recap video a couple weeks ago after our first meeting as a team, just to fill in those of you who couldn't be there on what we talked about and everything. And I got some feedback on that video that it was really good. Some of my board members and Wendell told me all that they really liked it, and they enjoyed hearing all that information. So I was like, okay, I mean, if you like it, and they requested more. So I was like, well, I guess I can record little snippets of, what I've been thinking about recently, and maybe it'll be of value to some of you. Maybe it'll get us all sort of thinking about the future, where we're headed together, and what we'll be focusing on at our next meeting. So yeah, let me know what you think of these. We'll see where this goes, and I'll just start talking about some of the things I've been thinking about. So one thought I've had recently is the importance of pursuing meaning in your art. So let me break that down a little bit. When I think about us human beings as creative creatures, I always think about how we're made in the image of God. God created us to be creative, made in his image, and when he creates, he does so with deep purpose. Everything that he's made, all you have to do is look at the world that he's made, and everything that he's made, you can see, has a lot of meaning to it. Human beings and the environment that we're in, everything has a purpose. And I really believe that we're supposed to create in a similar fashion. It's really important. Meaning is important in your art, and typically the art that is imbued with meaning and with value is the art that we find most valuable, right? There are lots and lots of examples of that, but taking that as a given, then this is why I think it's so important for us to focus on meaning and to inculcate it in our creation moving forward. Because of the environment that we're in. If you look at the environment that we're in, it's kind of funny how twisted, seemingly, the culture has gotten surrounding meaning and art, and what makes something meaningful, what makes something beautiful. There are lots of different notions, but the one that really pervades is that the meaning is just subjective, right? It's just sort of, it's in the eye of the beholder. Whatever the painting makes you feel, however the movie spoke to you, that's what matters, and every time I hear that, I'm like, give me a break. You don't actually believe that for a single second, because the creator knew what was going to make people feel what. Your creation has an effect on others. Of course it does. Otherwise, you'd never create a thing. And you have control over what that effect is. That's what it means to be a creator, is to try and pinpoint what effect you're going to be having on people, how you're going to relate to people, what kind of a relationship you're going to have with the audience. So there's that feeling that everything's just sort of wishy-washy and nothing really matters what we pursue as a culture in our art. And at the same time, we have so much art, and I hesitate even to call it art, but so much content out there. Young people are so surrounded by just a constant information flow. You can see hundreds of videos in seconds, which is just crazy. They all claim to be well done and meaningful, but like I said, by this definition of meaning that I just gave, they're not really. But there's this bad habit that I've worked myself into where sometimes I'll be over someone's shoulder while they're watching a video on their phone, and I'll be seeing it instinctively. I see how meaningless it really is, and the disconnect is that the person seeing the video isn't really thinking about that. the The instinct isn't to think about how meaningful the content is. It's just to see content. It's just kind of addictive, and you're just looking for content more and more and more. And I'm looking at whether or not something's meaningful, which makes a very interesting internet scrolling session, I will say. But I'll be looking over their shoulder, and I'm just like, my first impulse is to say, why are you watching this? This is garbage. And that doesn't always bode very well, you see, because typically somebody's going to say, what what do you mean? It's just a video. Why do you care so much? Like I said, there's a disconnect. So my approach there isn't the greatest to just barge in with that notion that it's garbage, which is true, by the way. But there is a sort of disconnect there. So people aren't even thinking about what's valuable and what isn't. When you have so much information out there, there's no time to have a filter of quality. What's meaningful and what isn't. You're not thinking about that. You're not thinking about the value of the input. You're just stuffing all this information into you at 300 miles per hour, and you can't even handle assessing the value of what you're putting inside you. But that doesn't mean that there is no value in it, right? This is something that our culture has kind of determined. I don't know, just naturally or what, but we've kind of determined that so much information means value must be subjective. Um, Too much means that you don't have time for value. Therefore, value isn't important, or value as we've thought of it isn't important. But I think this is just so far from the truth. Too much information does not mean that value is subjective. Maybe it just means you need to cut back on all that information and think about the meaning a little more. And if you focus on that meaning, maybe you'll come to a conclusion that, oh, actually, it's healthier for me to see what is valuable and throw away what isn't. Uh, because, like I said, that stuff has an effect on you. It really is important that you're not constantly stuffing yourself with meaningless garbage, as easy as it is to do in our current climate. Um, but I don't think I think as a culture we're not always going to have time for that much excess. I think right now we're in a comfortable enough place that we can just absorb whatever, and all this culture is really cheap to make, so we have all this spare time to just sit around and gorge ourselves on it. But we make space for the garbage now, but I don't think we always will. I think we have to be prepared for a time when art is going to be a very expensive thing. Maybe when if hard times come, imagine that you're like, well, I barely have enough money to feed my kids and to pay for our house. So I don't think that there's any point in me wasting my time watching this garbage, right? Why would I have a Disney Plus subscription or a Netflix subscription if all there is on there is trash? I think that time is coming eventually. I don't know when, but um, I think art is going to have to be. We're all going to have to be a lot more picky about what we're absorbing. We're going to have to be a little more discriminatory. We're going to have to be focused on the art that is meaningful. So that is a cry for artists to look to the meaning themselves. That's to say, if you're the person who's making meaning right now, then as the culture climate shifts, you're going to be on the top and you're going to have the influence. And as we pursue godly meaning, that's going to be pretty cool to be the people with the meaning influence right on the top. This is just coming off of my head. I don't know what all this means right now, but I just wonder. I wonder sometimes about who's going to be on top in terms of art when meaning is actually a qualifier, right? And is there a way that we can use that for the kingdom? So that's a thought that I've been having. That's something that we can explore a lot more. I think as a team, we're going to be focusing on how we harness that meaning, how we recognize it, how we instill it into our art, um, all the processes that we use to implement that. So yeah, there's a little thought from me. I'm going to stop it there. Please let me know what you think of this. If it was helpful to you at all, if it was absolutely useless and there's no meaning whatsoever to this video, please let me know. I want to know that. But yeah, in the meantime, I will hopefully see you all very soon, hopefully in person, and we'll be going from there. Thank you.